In the heart of a thunderstorm, under a sky ripping itself apart, a golden foal was born from dust and defiance. They called him Mesteno, not because he belonged to anyone, but because he never would. This wasn't just a horse. This was the storm, with hooves, and no one could tame him. You might think he's just a model, plastic, paint, a shelf decoration. But Mesteno is more than a collectible. He's a living symbol of a wild legacy. He stands for the Kiger Mustangs, real, rare, untamed, born from Spanish bloodlines, carved by wind, hardened by survival. Mesteno's story is their story, a tribute to the wild horses still running for freedom while the world tries to cage them. This is legend. Colliding with truth. Out in the open desert, wild Mustangs are being chased, trapped, erased. Their hooves silenced, their bloodlines disappearing. But through Mesteno, something refuses to die. Every time he thunders through your imagination, he carries the fight of the real ones still standing. He may be a creation, but what he represents, that's real, that's wild, that's worth saving. In the high desert of Oregon, where the wind cuts like a blade and the sky explodes with fury, he was born, a golden foal, fire in his veins, lightning in his soul. The storm didn't scare him, it welcomed him. Thunder cracked like a war drum as he took his first breath. Rain lashed the earth. His mother stood guard, wild, strong, unbroken. But this wasn't just another Mustang. This was Mesteno, the one the wind would follow, the one no fence could hold, the one no man would tame. From the very first moment his hooves touched the earth, he was different, defiant, destined. Born of thunder and dust, raised by wind and freedom, Mesteno wasn't meant to be owned. He was meant to run. And for 45 years, his story has thundered through hearts, not just as a model, but as a symbol of rebellion, of wildness, of the untamed soul every one of us secretly wishes we had. This is the legend of Mesteno, and he's just getting started. You might think Mesteno is just a model, a plastic horse on a collector's shelf. But you'd be wrong, dead wrong. Mesteno is not a toy. He's a symbol of something wilder, something real, something slipping away. He represents the Kiger Mustangs, a rare and powerful bloodline of wild horses, direct descendants of Spanish stallions brought to the New World centuries ago. Their bones carry history. Their eyes hold rebellion. And Mesteno? He's their voice. Golden coat like the desert sun, black mane like shadows at dusk. He embodies the fight to remain free in a world obsessed with control. While others are captured, branded, broken, Mesteno stands alone, unbroken, untamed, unafraid. His story isn't just his own. It's the story of every wild Mustang still thundering across the American West. This isn't just about one horse. It's about a forgotten bloodline. It's about a wild legacy. And this is where their story begins. Again. Through him. Through Mesteno. From the moment he stood on shaky legs, Mesteno was different. While other colts followed, he led. While others stayed close, he chased the wind. He grew up under the wide Oregon sky, raised by wild herds and shaped by survival. Coyotes, mountain lions, harsh winters, they forged him, not softened him. He wasn't born to live quietly. He was born to defy the world. As a young stallion, Mesteno challenged older, stronger rivals for leadership. He didn't win through brute force. He won through will. A fire behind his eyes, a refusal to back down. But humans came. With ropes, traps, helicopters, they tried to claim him. They thought they could break him like any other. But Mesteno wasn't any other. They caged him. He escaped. They branded him. He tore free. He wasn't angry. He was unwilling to surrender. Not to man, not to pain, not to fear. He returned to the wild, scarred, but undefeated. And in doing so, he became legend. A stallion that couldn't be touched, couldn't be owned, couldn't be forgotten. Mesteno didn't run from the world. He ran through it. And the earth still echoes with his thunder. Before Mesteno became a legend, in hearts and on collectors' shelves, he was inspired by something very real. A living, breathing symbol of survival in the American wild, the Kiger Mustang. In 1977, deep in the remote Steens Mountains of southeastern Oregon, a government roundup changed everything. What they found stunned even the most seasoned wranglers, a small group of wild horses, untouched by modern bloodlines, bearing the unmistakable marks of Spanish ancestry. Dorsal stripes down their backs, zebra-striped legs, compact, muscular builds, eyes full of lightning. These weren't just any Mustangs, these were Kiger Mustangs. The blood of conquistadors still ran in their veins, their lineage traced all the way back to the horses brought by Spanish explorers in the 1500s, the same horses that escaped, adapted, and gave birth to America's wild herds. But these were purer, older, and nearly forgotten. The Bureau of Land Management, BLM, knew what they had. They isolated the Kiger herd into two protected areas, Kiger HMA and Riddle Mountain HMA, a last stand for one of the rarest wild horse lines on Earth. Today, fewer than a few hundred Kiger Mustangs roam free. They are living artifacts, living art. And that's where Mesteno's spirit comes from. Not from fantasy, from truth. He embodies the Kiger's golden coat, the proud Roman nose, the bold stance of a stallion who knows no fence. He's a tribute to every real Mustang still out there, facing helicopters, holding pens, and the slow disappearance of the wild. While the real Kiger herd fights for survival, Mesteno reminds us why they're worth saving, why wild matters, why freedom matters. Because when you look into a Kiger Mustang's eyes, you're not just seeing a horse, you're seeing 500 years of rebellion, a storm trapped in muscle and bone. And when you see Mesteno, you're seeing all of them, wild, rare, untouchable. This is not just the past. This is the fight for the soul of the West, and it runs on hooves, through dust, and with thunder. Mesteno wasn't just born to run, he was born to inspire. In the 1990s, Breyer brought Mesteno to life, not just as a model horse, but as a symbol of the untamed, a golden stallion cast in plastic but breathing with purpose. Children saw more than a toy. Collectors saw more than a mold. They saw freedom, frozen in motion, power in paws, wildness in their hands. Mesteno galloped out of Breyer's Wild Mustang series, mane flying, head held high, spirit fully intact. He became the face of rebellion in every horse-loving heart. And he didn't stop there. He starred in his own book series, stories of courage, survival, heartbreak, and fire, stories that mirrored the real struggles of America's Mustangs. To this day, Mesteno remains one of Breyer's most iconic creations, not because of how he looks, but because of what he stands for. A Mustang no one could break. a legend kids grew up believing in, a legacy that refuses to fade. Mesteno isn't just a Breyer horse. He's the wild soul we all secretly wish we had. Mesteno may be a legend, but the battle he represents, that's painfully real. Out in the American West, the wild herds are vanishing. Helicopters chase Mustangs across desert plains, rounding them up by the thousands. Why? Because wild freedom doesn't fit inside government borders or cattle ranch leases. The same spirit that made Mesteno unbreakable is now under threat. Real Kiger Mustangs, the ones that inspired him, exist in dangerously small numbers. They face shrinking land, political fights, and a future hanging by a thread. But here's the thing. Mesteno refuses to disappear. He's not just a piece of Breyer history, he's a rallying cry. He reminds us that wildness has value, that some things were never meant to be owned, and that the story of the Mustang isn't over. Not yet. Because every time someone holds a Mesteno model, reads his story, or sees that golden stallion gallop through their imagination, they're keeping something alive. Hope, heritage, and the belief that freedom still has a place in this world. Mesteno matters, because the legend gives voice to the real ones, still fighting to stay wild. The storm has passed, the dust has settled, but if you listen closely, you can still hear him, Mesteno, galloping across the horizon of your imagination, his mane wild, his eyes fierce, his heart untouchable. He was never just a model, never just a name. He's a memory of what we once were, and what some still fight to be, free. Long after the plastic fades, long after the stories close, his spirit charges forward, untamed, unstoppable, unforgettable. Out there in the high desert, a real Kiger Mustang lifts his head to the wind. The blood of warriors in his veins, the fire of survival in his soul. He doesn't know your name. He doesn't care who watches. But in his run, you see Mesteno. In every hoofbeat, you hear rebellion. In every breath, you feel something ancient waking up inside you. That is the power of a wild horse who could never be tamed. Mesteno still runs, and as long as he runs, so does freedom.